Hello and welcome back to a historical video for Forgotten Arm 2. I'm standing here in one of the main bases for Pegasus Bridge, and as veterans of the game will certainly know, we have our Somua in there, we have a Marder in there. Over here there is a Panzer IV, there's a destroyed one, and there's another one around the corner. And there's also, of course, pickup kits. You can get your sniper rifles. Some people may or may not know you can also get some more unusual stuff like a Lafette. Well, that's not unusual, but for example, you can get a French SMG here. And people sometimes ask us, so how do we actually decide what to put on a map? And the answer is usually history. So the question then becomes, how do we actually know for certain what kind of gun or what kind of tank or types of tank unit used back in World War II, which has been a while. So yeah, that's what we will look at today. For this unit here is the 21st Panzer Division, one of the first German armored divisions, or well, actually the first German armored division to counterattack on D-Day. So, how do we know what kind of equipment a German division had? Well, every month they produced a document like this, which basically lists all their equipment as well as shows their organization. So, this here is a complete overview of our 21st Panzer Division on the 1st of June 1944. These boxes that you see are the subunits under the complete division, and they are color coded. The red ones are missing, so the red ones are for personnel that are missing. And so as you can see, for example, this unit here was missing some people, 14%. They had to calculate that. But other than that, as you can see, there's some kind of little red lines here in the line infantry, for example. But generally speaking, 21st Panzer before D-Day was fairly up to strength. Now, if we look at the different units, the main firepower of any division comes from the artillery, and this is the Panzer Artillery Regiment. And now, what we can already see here is there are a bunch of different batteries. We have one here. This symbol stands for the so-called Vielfachwerfer, which was basically a fairly rare unit or a fairly rare vehicle that was based, or I think even sometimes using captured ammunition, on on Soviet Katyusha rocket launchers. So as you can see, it's basically the same thing, just mounted on a captured French vehicle. And this is something that you see all over in this division, is that they use a lot of captured French stuff or vehicles based on the captured French stuff. Right? Now, you can see SLE. So this is a light battery with 6 guns. There's 2 light machine guns as well. Another light battery and then a heavy battery. And the same thing here, heavy, light, light. And then they have a 10 centimeter cannon, a long range battery here. And 2 batteries of 4 Russian 12.2 centimeter howitzers. So again captured, which would be in big supply because many of them were captured at the beginning of the war, and you can also find this in FH2 on the Russian side, by the way. So as you can see, the symbol here is a bit different. Here you have these wheels on top. That means these are towed 10 centimeter guns in Russian howitzers. These are self-propelled, and you can see up here, these are either the normal German howitzer based on a Lorraine chassis, or the heavy German howitzer on a Lorraine. And they also modified some of the Lorraines to be Beobachtungspanzer. That means an observation tank. I don't know where they show up here. Maybe in the HQ up there. Basically, the HQ is always at the top, and then you have the subunits here. That actually extends to the complete Panzer division as well. Here you can see the HQ. Yeah. So, as I said, main firepower comes from the artillery. Now, in order to actually seize terrain that was bombarded by the artillery and of course hold the line against attacks so people don't get to the artillery, you need your line troops. Now, since this is a Panzer division, they have of course a Panzer regiment. And this consists of 2 Panzer battalions, which was fairly normal at the time. So, again, there's an HQ. There were 4 Panzer IIIs, including 1 command model in the HQ, as well as 5 Panzer IV Long. Now, these Panzer IV Long, obviously, are the normal Panzer IV-H, probably at the time, or maybe Panzer IV-Gs, something like that. So that's a pretty standard equipment. The others were not as standard, necessarily. So the 1st battalion is pretty standard. So each of the companies has a bunch of Panzer IV Longs. So you can see here 17, 13, 17, 17. So those were... Actually, this is probably a 17 as well, because otherwise it would be under strength. So these are pretty normally equipped. They also have Panzer IIIs in the regimental HQ, though. And these are self-propelled slugs, as far as I know. So this one was a bit more unusual. So they had 6 Panzer IV Kurz, which are the outdated ones with the short 75mm. And there's actually, now this photo is colorized, but there's actually an original, okay, I should have, let's see, yeah, this is actually an original photo, but colorized from one of these. That's a Panzer IV-C, which was basically outdated at this point in the war, but they still had some of them. Now over here, they had 5 Panzer IV Long in each of these, and the rest were SO or HO, so Somua S35 or Hotchkiss H39. So these are outdated captured tanks, so this is the Hotchkiss that they still had. And then I also had a Somua, yeah, correct, this is a German captured Somua. And this is also something that you can get with this division on Pegasus Bridge. So that's correct here. I don't know how often these were then actually used. They're also, as you can see here, there's Befehlspanzer SO, so they also had them as a command tank as well. So yeah, that's pretty unusual stuff here. Now the same is true for the Panzer Grenadiers. So there are 2 Panzer Grenadier regiments, so these are the motorized or armored infantry. And this division was special in that most of them were actually mounted in APCs, which was not the case for any other Panzer division except, I think, Panzer Lehr division. And now this is a bit more complicated, and there's a bit more to talk about. Now, one thing that immediately, let's go from top to bottom, one thing that immediately catches my eye, so we have the 2 regimental HQs here, with communication equipment and so on. And then here there's the 15, I think these are self-propelled 15 centimeter guns. And if you look down here, we have again the Lorraine Geschützpanzer, so the Lorraines with a 15 centimeter howitzer. So these would normally have been Grilles with a 15 centimeter infantry gun. But apparently they instead, as you can see, 6 and 6, they instead had the big howitzer ones here. And then this here are, in my opinion, Reihenwerfer, Somua. These are these bizarre vehicles, 4 for each regiment. These are basically, again, French half-tracks, and they mounted French mortars on them. I haven't counted them, but it's a lot. I think the idea is to shoot all of them at the same time, to have like a huge mortar stonk. I'm not sure how they reloaded them. I can only imagine they would shoot them and drive the vehicle somewhere else and then reload them for a bit. But maybe that's some kind of weird frame. But yeah, these are 80mm or 81mm French Brandt mortars. Yeah, so yeah. So these here are the battalions, the Panzer Grenadier battalions. And inside these battalions you can see the companies. So you have one company of rifle infantry. And then here you have the heavy company. And there's also, again, some stuff. There's, again, some kind of 15 centimeter gun attached, apparently, to the battalion HQ here, for example. And there's other details you can see. So the heavy battalions, the heavy companies had also self-propelled guns of various caliber. These symbols here are machine guns, and it says 4 plus 20. That means 4 heavy machine guns, 20 light machine guns. So the 20 light machine guns would be in the normal Panzer Grenadier squads. They would have 2 per squad, and possibly more mounted on their half tracks. Their half tracks were they say here 72 SPWs, which is a lot, and they were also French ones mostly. If you look at them, these were the so-called U304F. As you can see, they look a bit different from the normal German SDKFZ 251. So these are French half-tracks repurposed. And as you can see, there's machine guns mounted on here as well. So these would also be in that document under light machine guns here. There's also these 3.7 centimeter guns here, 3. These are also mounted on the Somua. It says here Somua Pak. These would have been the platoon leader vehicles. Yeah. So these are the same half tracks, just Pak bolted onto the top. There's also here, as you can see, for these half tracks, radio equipped versions as well for the HQs and so on, and some that have a flak AA gun mounted. I don't know where they show up here. I guess these are probably, if you can see, they're 6, 2. No, these are 3. Yeah, 3, 3, and these are 2 centimeters. So these are 2 centimeter flags mounted on these French half tracks. So these would also have been in the heavy company here. And here it's, as you can see, basically the same. There's no big difference here. So this is actually kind of weird because it's a fairly or above average equipped unit, but the equipment is all cobbled together, and one wonders how effective it was, or rather how the situation was for spare parts and such. So yeah, to support these main line troops, you have a Sturmgeschützabteilung, so these are assault guns. And as you can see, there's again this assault gun battalion is subdivided into different companies, or batteries, I think they say for assault guns. And it's a bit hard to read, but it says 7.5 centimeter light. So these would basically be, 1 second, and you can see here they have 7 Pak 40 HO, so Pak 40 Hotchkiss, as well as 24 light field howitzers, 16 or 18 on Hotchkiss. And these are basically kind of Marders. We actually have that in FH2 as well. That's the Hotchkiss Marder here. This is one with this 10.5 centimeter howitzer, but they would also be used with the Pak, as you can see. And so these would be used instead of Stucks and Stus, which would be the standard equipment for that. There's also, again, flak to support it. As you can see, 6 AA guns here. So yeah, that's the assault guns. We have tank hunters, and this is interesting. They have 8.8 centimeter guns, so these would be the Pak 43, I believe. This is actually unusual because these were normally used by independent tank hunting battalions. So it seems odd that they had them on a division level as the Panzerjäger battalion. But yeah, they had apparently quite a few. If I read this right, 12 per unit, and then 17 light machine guns to support them, and 2 in the HQ here. These are always the most complicated to read. This is the reconnaissance unit, and they have many different kinds of units that go into the reconnaissance battalion. Just some examples. I don't want to go into massive detail. These use medium SPWs, so medium APCs. There are some equipped with the 75mm, some with the 37mm, and the rest with light machine guns. 36 light machine guns as well for the guns, for the APCs and the dismounts. My guess is that these were actually really Hanomaks, I think at least some of them. And this unit here, for example, has 28 light SPWs, so these would be SDKFZ 250, so the short version of the normal half-track. And these would not have been French ones. So I'm guessing that this is mostly equipped with real in quotation marks, German vehicles. So over here you have armored cars, some with 75mm guns and so on. And some more like scouting tanks here and stuff like that. Not exactly sure. Some of these might have been French tanks again, but maybe they would have written that down. So yeah, now there's other stuff. I don't want to go into too much detail, otherwise the video gets too long. Just some more interesting things. Here you have the flak, 2cm Vierling, 2cm single barrel, 88mm normal flak. Feldersatz battalion, these are the replacement troops. The artillery we already had. This is the communications unit, and they also had Sumurs apparently. Panzer pioneers also apparently mounted, as you can see here, at least partly in French half-tracks. And then there's boring but very important troops. These are supply troops, transportation, organization. These are the medics. These are like order, like military police, I'm guessing, and field post is very important, of course, for morale. So yeah, but that's basically what a division looked like. Well, actually, this is not a standard division, as I said. These use a lot of captured units. Now, on the reverse of these documents, what you have are also is also a weapons list of weapons that are not in the main document, and in this case that means that the machine guns, the light machine guns in terms of small arms, are already in the main document. These would have been MG34s or MG42s. You can't really tell from this list. Sometimes they wrote that on a different document, but I checked. This division didn't report a difference between MG34s or MG42s, so they could have been a mix, is my guess. So here you can first see German weapons. You have first the 9mm pistols, Lugers or Walthers. Then 7.65mm pistols, which would be probably privately owned. Then machine pistols, these would be the MP38 or MP40, quite a few, which is typical for Panzer divisions because every German tank or APC usually came with a machine pistol as, let's say, as additional equipment. So the normal rifle, as you can see, is the K98K, but they also had some older ones, a G98 World War I vintage. They only had 21 scoped rifles. This is actually kind of hard to tell. These might be the 4x scope type rifles. No, so I mean 4x magnification. There also was the ZF41 1.5 times, and sometimes these seem to have not been counted as scoped rifles. So they might have more technically scoped rifles, but it's hard to tell. So they have 303 G41 self-loading rifles. Now this is one thing that I often hear on the internet, like the G41 is seen as this kind of rare unicorn gun, and then people are surprised when you tell them no. Like, it's not, as you can see, there's way more K98Ks, but that doesn't mean the G41s weren't used. And if you can see here, 303 of them. If you think about it, wait a second, I have to do a little bit of calculating. Okay, actually I will do it live. Now, if you think about it, so we have roughly 300 of these rifles. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 rifle companies, Panzer Grenadier companies, not counting the heavy ones, not counting these here, which might have used some or probably have used some, not counting the Panzer Pioneers now, they also would probably have used some, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of these. Now each, let's get the calculator out. Oops, mistyped. If you calculate that, we have 12 companies. Each of them would have 3 rifle platoons, right? So each of these 36 rifle platoons would have 3 squads, right? So 108 squads. So if we think that 303 rifles, that would mean they could theoretically have 3 in each of the squads. Now, as I said, these guys probably got some, Panzer pioneers probably got some, maybe some HQs or whatever. My point is, though, they were probably not rare. Now, according to the KSTN, or the TOE, each Panzer Grenadier squad would get one rifle for the assistant squad leader, and to me that seems realistic. They were equipped to have that. So yeah, G41's not that rare. That said, one thing I should note is that sometimes this paperwork is not that exact, and there might be some G43s in here as well that they counted together. That thing happens. So, 259 Gewehr-Granatgerät, which is basically a rifle grenade launcher for the K98K. And then these are flare guns. Then they also have captured guns, captured weapons. So 9mm Armeepistolen Belgien. These are Browning high powers. 280 French rifles, 8mm. 89 Yugoslavian rifles. 18 Czech rifles. These were all probably used by, for example, the artillery crews and stuff like that, or for example in the medic. Medic unit or whatever, veterinary unit. This is unusual. 100 French machine pistols, so these would have been MAS 38. My guess is that these came with some of the French vehicles that they used and were used as board weapons in there. Is my guess. I don't have any proof of that. Then French MGs, I think these are built into the vehicles again. And then, of course, the French grenade launcher. These are basically these ones. I'm pretty sure if I calculated that, it would come for the number of these vehicles. So yeah, anyway, these documents, by the way, are from Bundesarchiv. I will also put the details into the video description. So if you want to check that or other documents out, you can do that. It's free. It's just kind of weird to navigate through their website. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.